Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I am your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman, and we are joined by Reverend Pinkney, live calling in from prison. Hey, Reverend.
I'll do
Hey.
as a therapist.
Reverend, you're on the air.
Yeah, I'm here. Hey, how you doing today?
How are you, brother? Okay, we are live on the air, so give us your update.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, I, as you know, I went to court on the 27th, and we turned out empty-handed,
Right.
Which we kind of expected that, but it was designed just to get us into the appeal court. See, the most important thing that we get into the appeal court, we get the transcript, and then we can do some damage. So who will believe that a person was sent to prison with absolutely no evidence? And here I am, there's guys here who have served 50 years in prison. And these are their words, that they did nothing, that they're innocent. And they know that they're innocent, and they can prove that they're innocent. And this guy's here been 40 years, 30 years. We're living in a time now where people don't understand how important it is to stand up for the people. It's got to be about the people. And I tell you, this prison system is nothing but a money-making operation. And we have a duty. We have a duty, Ed, to make sure that the people understand that we have a constitutional right and a duty as American citizens to hold these elected officials accountable for their actions, their work, and their inaction of wrongdoing. We have refused to do so. So it's time that we move this thing to a whole different level, Ed. And I tell you, I'm excited today just to be here on the show and do something positive and spread the word around, because something has to be done about this prison system before they put everybody in this baby.
Yeah, I hear you, brother. But give us an idea. You went back to court on the 27th, and all you were seeking was an appeal bond to get out on bail while your appeal is pending.
That is correct. And also, what was even more important, we was asking for a direct verdict.
Right.
For the simple fact that there was absolutely no evidence that could have said that I did anything wrong. So that was two of the things that we were dealing with. But that juror issue, where one of the jurors lied just to be on there, we're going to have a hearing for that one, April the 14th. So we're doing the things that need to be done. We're showing people what we're capable of doing if you fight back. And I just got a good feeling once we get into the appeal court that we're going to turn this thing all the way around.
Well, yeah, I would hope so. But let me ask you this. Now, what was the objection? What was the state's objection to allowing a 66-year-old man to be out on bail pending his appeal?
His famous words, the jury has spoken. That lynch mob has spoken. That's what he was saying. His words was, his famous reason, the only reason he can come up with to say that Reverend Pinkney should not be out on bond is that the jury has spoken. The lynch mob has spoken. That was his words. And, you know, we're desperate to get to the transcript so people can actually see this. And you know how the corporate news media is. They never want to expose this guy or for what they really are. And until we do so, it's going to continue just this way. So we have to make sure the people, your listeners and people like that, have to understand how important it is to take this thing to a whole different level.
Well,
get off their butts and fight back, Ed.
Well, Reverend Pinkney, just recently, Michael Skakel, one in the Kennedy family, he was convicted of murdering Martha Moxley about 30, 40 years ago, whatever it was. Now, he's been granted an appeal bond on a murder conviction.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Now, can you remind the listeners what the charges are against you that you were convicted of that got you a 7-year, I think it's a 2 to 10, right?
Yeah, 2.5 to 10. Right?
Okay, so the 2.5 to 10 years. What are the charges against you, Reverend?
Here's what the charges. A charge was we went out and recalled the mayor and was successful. But they came up with, he told us, he warned us, he said he's going to use all his resources to stop us. And his resources was the prosecutor, the sheriff department, the county clerk, and those people. They claimed 5 felony charges of forgery, changing the date on a recall petition, which never happened. That's the thing. I mean, five felony charges of changing the date on a recall petition.
So the crime that has you that we need to take Reverend Pinkney off the street to protect the rest of us from Reverend Pinkney, okay, is that there are 5 dates on a piece of paper on a clipboard that are the wrong dates. Someone made a mistake. There's an error on this piece of paper.
Right.
There's an error on a piece of paper, and they decided to give a man up to 10 years in prison to protect the rest of us from Reverend Pinkney.
And here's the kicker part. There was more evidence that the mayor had committed a crime than me. There was more evidence that the county clerk has committed a crime rather than me, yet neither one of them was charged. Falsifying. That's what they was doing. And the clerk herself turned the petitions over to the sheriff's department without a warrant, without a subpoena, or a court order.
Oh, really? Wait a second. You're telling me that the reason that these charges came to light was because the clerk turned them over to the sheriff's department?
That is correct. Without permission. You see, you have to have a subpoena in order to turn anything from the clerk's office over to the sheriff's department. And she didn't have one. She didn't have any permission from anyone. She just did it.
That's interesting.
That's why this case is so important, because they do a lot of things underhanded and get away with it, and nobody ever say a word. That's where I come in.
Yeah. Now, but you, I'm a little encouraged, Reverend, because I was speaking to someone who's representing you and your legal team. Can you refresh my memory on who these people are? These new people that are helping you out now?
Yes, Larry Pinkney, absolutely. We have Danielle. And we also have we have a beautiful team. Ethel Scott, she's from California. It's so many of them. Just right off the top of my head, I can't think of all the names. But it's a tremendous team that's all around the country. We have the Michigan Welfare Rights. We have the Monitorium Now. We have so many different organizations. The People World, the People Tribune, which is so important. That's the one who actually engineers most of this stuff, who actually get out here and do the footwork, and we use the People Tribune in order to get our message out there also. So it's a lot of different organizations. It's probably over 100 different organizations right now that's in full support and out here doing work to make sure that we get this thing out there and people understand. See, one of the things I want people to understand that Barron County, Michigan is running a criminal enterprise. They're running a criminal enterprise. And in order for us to get that out, people have to start saying these things, calling these people what they are. Because they think what they're doing is okay, but it's not okay. So we have to show them what they're doing is wrong. We have to learn to fight back and do the things that need to be done. Until we do that, we're going to continue having these prisons full, and they're taking it back. See, this is one of the biggest money-making operations there is in the world. And you talk about the food here. I would not feed a dog the food that they feed here. And also the health care. The health care itself, you almost have to be dying in order to see a doctor here. So you have to get out there, and people have to talk about these things, because most people, once they get out of prison, they don't even talk about what's happening in here, because they just happy to be out and don't have to eat that food.
That's so true, Reverend. Now, what about how can people help out if they want to donate money? Because I know we get messages. People say, how do we donate to Reverend Pinkney? And I always send them to Banco, BHBANCO.org. So how can we help you out?
That's right. Send them to BHBanco.org. That's BHBanco.org. And then they get an update when they do that also. And number two, which is even more important, they can also mail a check if they don't want to go there. They can just mail it to Banco, make it out to Banco, BANCO, and that's 1940 Union Avenue, Benton Harbor, Michigan, 49022.
Yeah, that's actually 1940 Union Street. Okay?
Okay, that's fine, too.
There's a guy over at Union Avenue getting all your donations, Reverend. We got to stop by there.
we'll make sure that don't happen. But we also want to make sure people understand that they can write me too. If they go to bhbangle.org, they have the address where they can write me here in Coldwater, and I'm going to continue to fight for the prisoners here. I'm going to continue to fight for the people in the city of Benton Harbor and around the state of Michigan and around the country. We're going to continue this fight and show them what we made of and what we can do. And we got to see, people got to understand. They said when you're in prison, you got it made. It's absolutely not true. This is torture. You heard of waterboard. See, what they do in the prison, they got what they call travel board. They travel you. It took 2 days for me to get to this location. I was shackled down, no heat on the bus. It was 49 below zero when I left that location with no heat. Now think about this. It was what they do. They torture you in the prison system, and there's nothing you can do because everybody thinks that you should be locked up, and they throw away the key because when you get out, you're going to kill their family. That's what they think. That's how they got everybody thinking. He's going to get out. He's going to kill your wife and children, and that's why they don't let nobody out of prison. But they got to start letting the people out. You got people in here 50 years old. I've been in here 50 years. Been in here 45 years, 30 years. And most of them are innocent. Over 60% of the people are innocent that's in prison today. And I can testify to that because I try to talk to everybody.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Ed, thank you for having me on your show. I only got 1 minute left, but it's a pleasure. If they want to help, they can go to bhbangle.org. And Ed, I go back to court on April the 14th, and I want people to know that I want people to come, and I want people to show up and show out and show them what we made of, because they think that they got it made in the sun. But we're going to continue this fight, and we're going to win this battle, and we can win. You see, they might choke the breath out of this body, but they will not choke the breath out of my spirit, because we're going to continue to fight until the end, and we're going to win, Ed. We're going to win this battle, Ed. I'm guaranteeing victory for the people.
God bless you, Reverend. Thank you so much for calling in. Give your wife my number, my direct number, so we can schedule these calls, okay?
Okay, we'll do. And listen, I also want to say to her that she's doing a great job, a tremendous job. I mean, I'm just so proud of her.
What's your wife's name? We'll pray for her.
Her name is Dorothy Pinkney. Dorothy, and she's doing a tremendous job. She just keeps...
Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Well, and there you have it. I didn't get a chance to ask the Reverend how much that phone call cost him, that little 15-minute phone call. But let me tell you, it's like $3 a minute, and probably even more. Like he said, this whole prison system, it's a money-making system. And when people say, like, it's in the news right now about Jodi Arias, and how, Jodi Arias, she deserves to be get the death penalty because she's going to be sitting there in prison enjoying life. There's 3 hots in a cot sitting up watching TV, color TV. They got cable TV. I don't even have cable TV. They got free medical. They got that's not the reality, folks. We've come to a mentality in this country where we're like a lynch mob. And we're making some kind of a human sacrifice out of these people, like the Jodi Arias case. But in this case, with the Reverend Ed Pinkney, even if he were to confess and say, okay, you know what, I did it. I did. Yeah, that little clipboard, I changed the dates on those 5 names. Okay, I did it. You know, is that any justification to give a man even 30 days in jail? You know, 4 or 5 little dates on a piece of paper, and you're going to give someone 10 years in prison. A man who's 66 years old, a man with a wife, a man with a family, you know, people that count on him. And we have to keep in mind, and we have to resist. And when you have a man like Reverend Pinkney who's been fighting for your rights and for my rights for his whole life, you know, the man's been an activist his whole life. You know, we have to keep in mind that when one of us is back there behind bars, that we have to keep them in our prayers. And Dorothy, his wife, we have to keep them in our prayers. We have to visit. The Bible says you have to go visit people in prison. And also support them and support his legal team that I'm in touch with, and I'm trying to help him out on the side here too. So if you want to send in a contribution, you can go to his blog, bhbanco.org, bhbanco.org, and there's a PayPal donation button on there. For some reason you can't get through to him, email me at oppermanreport@gmail.com. I'll send you the link to the blog. The written address to mail a check is to Rev Pinkney, Pinkney, 1940 Union Street, Benton Harbor, Michigan, 49022. And hopefully we'll be getting more updates from Reverend Pinkney, and we'll have some good news. We'll have a good report for you that we're getting our man out. Okay, so thank you, and we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming for you.